What's up, football world? I am Bucky Brooks, and this is the Bucky Brooks Show, put on by FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll talk about all things Jacksonville Jaguars today. And the reason we're talking about the Jags is because the Jags are my squad. Spent some time there. I'm connected there. And so I want to send a shout out to the Jaguars for their 3-1 start, hitting the quarter pole in really good position, tied for the lead in the AFC South. Things are trending up, because the Jaguars just went on the road and knocked off the San Francisco 49ers 26-21. And in knocking off the San Francisco 49ers in what some would deem to be a measuring stick game, it has opened the football world's eyes to the Jaguars being a legit playoff contender. In fact, if you go to FanDuel Sportsbook and you look at the odds right now, the Jaguars are minus 200 to make the playoffs. And those odds are looking really good right now because the Jaguars are balling. They're balling out of control. And Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Boselli have done a really good job of rebuilding this organization. What I want to talk about leading into what will be a fantastic opportunity for the Jaguars next Monday night, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, for the football world to see all of the things that are going positively in the Jaguars world, is to talk about how we got to this point, how the Jaguars raced out to a 3-1 start, why they're playing so well, what were the reasons behind their fantastic start, and how they were able to knock off the San Francisco 49ers, a team that fancies themselves as being the biggest and baddest bullies on the block. Let's talk about the game itself. In looking at the game, the reason why it was a measuring stick game is because of all the things that the San Francisco 49ers are and have been since their existence. 5-time Super Bowl champs, a team that is really regarded as the gold standard when it comes to the organization because they operate in a first-class manner. They have a championship pedigree that was established by Bill Walsh and continued on to this day. And they are a team that pride themselves in beating people up as a bully. Their physical brand of ball, the toughness that they display, they force you to come to their level. For the Jaguars going on the road, this was an opportunity to see where they stack up against the league's elite. San Francisco 49ers were unbeaten heading into that game. And if the Jaguars want to be hailed as not only a playoff contender, but someone that eventually competes at a Super Bowl level, you have to be able to win these games. Going into the game and talking to Jaguars players, they said, look, it's not about the Niners. Even though I called it a measuring stick game, they said it's not about them, it's about us. It's about playing to our brand, our standard. Our brand and standard is physicality and toughness. Who we want to be is a team that lines up, puts the ball down any place, anytime to get it done. And when I think about that, because Liam Cohen talked about that, like anyone, anytime, any place. Man, that is a team that doesn't worry about the circumstances around them. They're going to show up and be the same team each and every week. And one of the things that has been really kind of touted from the time that Liam Cohen got to Jacksonville is we're going to be a tough team. And that toughness is not only physical, it's mental. It's the ability to bounce back from adverse situations. It's the ability to bounce back for mistakes and miscues. It's the ability to close out games when the game hasn't gone your way. But it's when you need it, you're at your best because you're tough enough to believe that you can get it done in those moments. When I look at this team and I look at the game in general, Jaguars didn't play their best game. That's not the best that I've seen the Jaguars play. They ran the football effectively. They made plays on defense, but this wasn't what I call an A-plus performance from the Jags. What it was one of the grittiest performances that I've seen from the Jaguars. So let's break that down and break down the game. 26-21, it was a game in which the Jaguars, after the first drive when the Niners went up and down the field and scored a field goal, the Jaguars kind of dominated the game from that point. One of the things that the Jaguars have really been intentional about is they want to be a running team, a physical running team, a team that could dominate the ball on the ground. They've been a top 5 rushing offense. They were top 5 heading into that contest, but against the Niners and their vaunted defense, they ran for 151 yards on 32 carries. Travis Etienne led the way, 19 carries, 124 yards, and a big touchdown. Really set the tone because when the Jaguars are able to run the football, it allows them to control the game, to dictate the terms to the defense, to set Trevor Lawrence up for success off play action, to, I would say, minimize his role in terms of having to be the playmaker and allow him to comfortably play in a game manager role where he distributes, but everything isn't on his shoulders to be everything. Regardless of how much money he makes and being a guy in the $50 million club, it is about making sure that he's in a very comfortable situation where he doesn't have to do everything. Some would say early in his career, he had too much on his plate too soon, and maybe it stunted his growth as a playmaker. Now they've scaled it back by running the football. They're trying to really get more out of him by asking him to do less. He has a lot on his plate mentally, but physically, trying to take some of those responsibilities off so he can manage the game and then jump into playmaker mode when needed. When I look at the game, I talked about like 32 carries, 151 yards, Travis Etienne being able to really have his way running the ball between the tackles. And a lot of that was done with an offensive line that was battered and bruised for most of it. We saw guys go in and out of the lineup, had a bunch of backups playing, but it didn't matter because when the Jaguars needed to run the football effectively, they ran it, and they ran it at one of the top defenses in football. The reason why that's important is because going forward, they walk away with the confidence in knowing that when they face the bullies on the block, they can hit the bully in the mouth by running the football right at them. In this game, when they needed to run the ball, particularly early in the game to settle it down, to quiet the crowd, they were able to do it. When they needed to run the ball late in the game, they were able to do it to run the clock out, to finish the game the way that they wanted to finish the game. So that was terrific. And Trevor Lawrence, I can't say that this was his best game. He was effective, maybe not as efficient as they wanted him to be, but he was fairly effective in terms of moving the ball around and making plays. 21 for 31, 174, had a touchdown, didn't turn the ball over. Passer rating 92.7, which would fall right in the middle when it comes to the efficiency, but it was good enough. The thing that Trevor did really well against the Niners, he kept the team in the right play, meaning he was able to look at the defense, make the check, kill the play, put the Jags in an optimal play. Speaking of him getting into the right play, Robert Saleh created quite the stir by talking about sign stealing and those things. And sign stealing itself, in terms of the term, is inflammatory because it makes you believe that the Jaguars were doing something illegally by the way they were going about doing their business. What I can tell you is the Jaguars are a team that uses shifts and motions probably more than, well, look, they rank in the top 5 in terms of percentage of shifts. I think it's right around 64 to 68%. They shift on every play. One of the reasons why they motion or shift is because it forces the defense to uncover, meaning they motion someone across. We can determine whether it's man or zone if the guy runs with them or if they don't. By shifting and trading tight ends and swapping sides and doing some of those things, you also can tell if this team is indicating a blitz or are they playing coverage based on formation and those things. So a lot of what they do before the snap is information gathering. While Robert Saleh alleged that this is a team that really understands how to swipe signs and those things, what he's really saying is they do a great job of understanding your tells, and they get you to reveal those tells by shifting and motioning and swapping the formation to make you uncover and to make your defense communicate. That is a big part of what they do. And that is why Trevor has to really be exceptional mentally so they can get to it, because there's a lot on his plate to manage, having 2 play calls come in, evaluate what the defense is doing, and then check or kill the play to get the Jaguars in the right play. This is something that we saw Sean McVay do in LA to help Jared Goff go from being a guy that was talked about as a bust to playing at a Pro Bowl level and eventually leading the Rams, the LA Rams, to a Super Bowl appearance where they lost to the Patriots. Liam Cohen has seen that and is utilizing similar tactics to help Trevor Lawrence get this team and this offense up and going. Back to the game and how it relates to that. Trevor's management at the line of scrimmage has really helped the Jaguars be very effective running the football by shifting and motioning early, being able to identify where the bubble is at the line of scrimmage. The Jaguars are able to run favorable plays that help Travis Etienne find creases, split creases, and those things. It's not only Travis Etienne, but it's Bashar Tootin, it's LaQuinton Allen, all of those guys sharing the workload to be effective running the pill. In the passing game, it hasn't been exactly what we wanted in terms of the explosiveness and the output and the things that we expected from Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter and some of the other guys coming in, but it still has been a fairly effective passing game. When I look at the distribution list, I see Brian Thomas with 5, Britton Strange with 6, Travis Hunter with 3, Hunter Long with 3, and then a handful of guys with 1 apiece. The yardage isn't significant, but what it shows you is, look, they're spreading the ball around. They're forcing you to defend the entire field horizontally, vertically, but in the box, on the perimeter, with the run in the pass game. And it's allowed this offense to control the game, which is a big part of how the Jaguars want to play. If you have played the soccer game FIFA, it's like playing possession. I'm going to play keep away. I'm going to make this game tight. And in the fourth quarter, we'll find a way to get it done because we're preventing you from getting into a rhythm because we're controlling all the action. That's what they're doing on offense. The way that it works in the bigger picture is it's part of a complementary football strategy where the offense is supporting the defense and the special teams. Defensively, the Jaguars are doing their part because they lead the league in takeaways. And for the 4th straight game, they walked away with at least 3 takeaways. And in thinking about the takeaway game against the Niners, pair of interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. And if you're on the field like I was watching it, man, they have a turnover obsession that really charges their every action. Defensive backs and linebackers are punching the ball out at every turn. Foye Oluokun knocking it loose. Other guys really trying to swipe at it, poke at it, knock it out, where they're testing the security, the ball security of the opponents. In the passing game, Anthony Campanile has gone to a zone-based scheme that is a see ball, get ball scheme. They're dropping in the coverage. They're getting to their spot drops. They're looking eyes on the quarterback. And then they are really making early breaks based on where the quarterback is looking. When you combine that with a consistent pressure from the front 4, it is forcing quarterbacks to really check their first read and their second read. The ball has to go. The Jaguars, because they're getting so much pressure, the linebackers and the secondary guys are able to aggressively jump those routes, and they're getting their hands on footballs. And because they're focused on hustling to the ball, running to the ball, tips and overthrows lead to interceptions. And we saw the first interception Devin Lloyd got, tip and overthrow, got to it. We saw the second interception that he got. It's because he read Brock Purdy's eyes and ran to the area and made a play. This has been a common theme the first 4 weeks of the season. These guys are picking off passes. They're knocking balls up in the air. Guys are running and hustling and getting picks. They're jumping routes. They're making plays because their vision on the quarterback allows them to make more plays on the ball. They're touching the ball, and the ball skills have been terrific. That played out in the game. But the reason why they're able to really dominate in the passing game is because they are stopping the run. Niners vaunted rushing attack, and I keep talking about vaunted because this is what they're known for. The Niners are known for their running game and their defense. The Jaguars were able to go at both of those areas. Running game, 24 carries, 83 yards, only averaged 3.5 per attempt. Christian McCaffrey is terrific. He is maybe a gold jacket player, but when you hold him and the Niners to under 100 yards, what you do is you change the way the Niners have to play, and you make them play in a manner in which they don't like to play. 17 carries for McCaffrey, only 49 yards, 2.9 yard average. Yes, he has 6 catches for 92 yards, but you're making the Niners play that you want to, the way that you want them to play because you stopped the run. The other thing that you were able to do by stopping the run, you took away the play action from the Niners. If you know the Niners, you know their passing game, Kyle Shanahan, they create their biggest plays off play action. They want to stick the ball out in the belly of the running back, pull it back, lure the linebackers to the line of scrimmage, and then hit those open voids at intermediate levels that lead to big plays. Without the running game, you can't threaten linebackers with the run. Now you're in a drop back passing game. Drop back passing game means traditional routes. Traditional routes meaning easier for the zone blitz to cover them. Tips, overthrows, close reaction, tighter windows. All of those things have led to the turnover spree that we've seen from the Jags, particularly against the Niners. The other part of it that is showing up, Not only is the zone allowing the Niners to see ball, get ball as it relates to getting interceptions, but they're closing quickly to when these guys catch the ball. As a result, they close, they get there, they're able to wrap up with multiple defenders, and one guy takes a hard punch, a hard swipe at the ball. We're seeing, because of the violent nature of the punch, man, the ball is bouncing around everywhere, and the Jaguars are aware and they're at it. And because they've had so much success, as I said, the turnover obsession has led to a feeding frenzy where everyone is trying to generate a big play. Everyone is trying to produce the next takeaway because they're being rewarded for their efforts by the ball falling into the hands of Jags. Sounds simple, sounds crazy, but it's effective because now the Jags are all bought in on this philosophy. On offense, we talk about the running game and how they've embraced the run and how it's made them a more physical team. On defense, hustling, zone dogs, zone coverage, great alignments and assignment understanding, and then overall physical play. The Jaguars are a team that now believes that their brand of ball is physical at every turn. Their physicality, their toughness, their ability to go at the bully, that is not because they were playing the Niners. That's because that's their brand of play. After the game, talking to Jordan Lewis, talking to Josh Hines-Allen, they talked about, hey, man, this is who we play. This is who we are. This is who we're going to be going forward. A rough and rugged team that is physical, that are going to force teams to play on their terms. And we've seen when the Jaguars are able to force teams to play their way, they win a lot of games, and they also impose their will on the opponents. Brings me to this. Jags are 3-1. They should be 4-0. They let one slip against Cincinnati Bengals because they dropped passes, didn't finish the game, and those things. They do that. They should be 4-0 and sit atop the AFC. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is that the Jaguars are now 3-1 at the quarter pole. They've now put themselves in a position to make a great run down the stretch to not only secure a playoff berth, but to make a run at the division. When you look at the odds on FanDuel Sportsbook, right now it's plus 125 for the Jags to be the division winner. I love those odds. I think they can get it done. Division is competitive. The Indianapolis Colts are right there at 3-1. Houston Texans won their first game. They're 1-3, but they're going to be there in the end. You're going to have to deal with them again, and we'll have the rematch later in the year. But the Jags are right there, and they're right where they need to be. So you have to be excited about that. Why are the Jags where they are, besides what I described in the game? I'm going to tell you the reason why. When you walk in the building right now, there's a chemistry and a connectivity that comes with the way the Jaguars operate. It exists not only player to player, because they've been very intentional about hanging out with each other beyond the hours at work, whether it's watching film at another player's house, whether it's going to dinner, bowling, shooting pool, golfing, whatever. These guys are spending a lot of time together. And even though you're in the pros, it's very similar to being a high school team. The more connected the high school team is, the more that the guys are friends and have a respect and even a love for one another, the better they play, because that brings about a level of responsibility where you want to be accountable for your performance because it impacts the way that your teammate performs. That's what we're seeing from the Jaguars. It shows up. I just saw a clip on the NFL social media site where they had Travis Hunter blocking and how he's throwing his body around and doing that so Travis Etienne and those guys can get loose in the running game. Most receivers aren't really excelling or giving their all blocking, but because the Jaguars feel such a responsibility to their teammates, they're giving the extra effort. The extra effort is being rewarded in better performance, and that is why the Jags are winning. But it goes beyond that. Accountability is a word that is always thrown out there, but I can tell you there's a high level of accountability in the building. Can't say that it has always exists, but under this regime, they definitely are holding guys accountable. And the way that they're holding people accountable is high demands, high expectations. When you demand a lot from your team and you set great expectations, you now raise the standards in the building. Championship standards, championship habits, championship behavior. That's what you're trying to create by doing this. Demanding a lot, hold them accountable to meeting those demands, and clearly communicating what you expect and what you want every day. This was above the line. This was below the line. This is good enough. This is not good enough. Regardless of what it is, you're either going to get it right or you won't be here. We have seen some guys depart because they had a tough time fitting into what the culture has started to be established in Jacksonville. And that's great because you want guys that fit in and you want to get rid of all the ones that don't. And so what we're seeing is a team of like-minded players who may have their own individual personalities, but they blend into the fabric of the team. That's when you win, and you win at a high level, when everyone is pulling the boat in the right direction. The Jaguars always talk about a few different things. They talk about the preparation, they talk about the process, and ultimately the performance on the grass. Well, when you prepare like crazy, you're great in the meeting rooms, you do all the things that you're supposed to do. When you focus on the right things, like, hey, how can I get better each day? How can I focus on making myself and our team the best that we can make it? Man, I have a chance to do it. It's not about the other team. It's about us. If we prepare and we focus on our process, ultimately the performance is going to be what we want it to be. I'm sitting here telling you that at 3-1, the Jaguars haven't even scratched the potential on how good they can be. But the confidence that stems from winning gives them a chance to be one of those teams that we talk about being around in the end. Where do they go from here? Well, marquee game on Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. While the outside world would build it to be, oh, this is their coming out party, the Jaguars have to continue to do what they've done the first 4 games of the year. Prepare, focus on the process, and perform. They do those things, they have a great opportunity to be 4-1 and to now begin to catch the attention of the football world. You know something that has caught my attention? Bleav me. As someone who lives their world in the public spirit, I got to tell you, Bleav me is a quick and easy and safe way to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. When we think about data brokers making profit off your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with Bleav me. Bleav me, which the New York Times Wirecutter has named as the top pick for data removal services, takes care of all of those things. I told you, someone who lives their life with an active online presence, privacy is important to me. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Bleav me. Now the special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Bleav me plan when you go and join BleavMe.com/pro. Use promo code PRO at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go join BleavMe.com/pro. Enter code PRO at checkout. That's join BleavMe.com/pro, code PRO. So there you have it. Bleav me, love the Jags. If you do all those things, you're going to have a great football week. And that's what we're having. Those who love the Jags are really celebrating and rejoicing in the Jags' success. But we have our eyes set on greater sights. Big game next Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs come in with Pat Mahomes and the Swifties. It's going to be a lot of fanfare, a lot of excitement. And the one thing that we're going to be ready to talk about it. So later in the week, we drop another pod to talk about the Jaguars, their preparations, and their process to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs. But until then, make sure you check out the Bucky Brooks Show. Make sure you check out all the things at Bleav. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Do everything you can to help me grow this community as we talk about the Jaguars and all other football topics that are on the horizon. Until then, I'm Bucky Brooks. This is the Bucky Brooks Show, and I will talk to you next time.